Welcome back. The news in details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Monday received a phone call from his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron. Presidential spokesman Bassem Radi said that the phone talks tackled the current preparations for the international conference on Libya, which will be hosted by Paris this month. Macron expressed keenness on exchanging visions with President el-Sisi on settling the Libyan crisis, praising the efforts exerted by el-Sisi in this regard. For his part, President el-Sisi reviews Egypt's constant stance towards the Libyan crisis and the Egyptian efforts in pushing for a settlement on the military, political and economic levels. The phone talks also tackled means of enhancing bilateral relations in several sectors, especially the military and the economy. The two leaders exchanged visions in several international and regional issues, including the latest developments in Sudan. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi instructed to apply modern standards in upgrading all cities across the country. President el-Sisi also ordered to develop the infrastructure of these cities in a way that turns them to green and friendly environment places through using clean and renewable energies, especially in public transportation. The President's directives came during his meeting on Monday with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, which tackled the progress report of a number of ongoing national projects nationwide. During the meeting, President el-Sisi was briefed on the latest developments of the Fustat project, where the President ordered to finalize the phases of the project during the year 2022 within, within the comprehensive development for the area of ancient Cairo to become a tourist attraction. Meanwhile, the Premier reviewed the construction progress for developmental and tourism projects in El Alamein and Sharm el-Sheikh cities. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Monday received Arab and African public prosecutors who are participating in the global conference on the role of public prosecution offices in combating cross-border crime. The conference is organized by Egypt's public prosecution. The President asserted the state's support to the public prosecution and different national judicial bodies as it considers law supremacy a governing principle. He said justice is a leading value and a base for community stability, so it entails the keen desire to ensure independence of the judiciary. President el-Sisi asserted Egypt's support to both Arab and African public prosecutors' role in fighting cross-border crimes, notably terrorism, especially with the current unfolding crises that are hitting the two regions. The President reviewed Egypt's integrated vision for cross-border cooperation that is based on understanding and respecting different cultures, traditions, and set of values for different nations. During the President's meeting with Arab and African prosecutors, an open dialogue was held with the attending prosecutors hailing Egypt's developmental drive. Public prosecutor and head of the Arab Public Prosecutors Assembly, Hamad Al-Sawi, chaired the first annual meeting of the Assembly. The meeting coincides with the International Conference on the Role of Public Prosecution Authorities in Combating Cross-Border Crimes held by Public Prosecution from the 7th to the 9th of November under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The event includes the 15th meeting of the African Public Prosecutors. The meeting was attended by general prosecutors from Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Morocco, Jordan, Palestine, and Oman. Addressing the meeting, Al-Sawi said this event is the first of its kind between members of the Arab and African Public Prosecution Assemblies. He asserted the significance of the gathering in exchanging experiences and common views over issues of common concern among the Arab and African participants. He probed the difficulties facing international judicial cooperation mechanisms and called for intensifying cooperation to face these challenges. The Egypt-US strategic dialogue was launched on Monday with the participation of Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and his US counterpart Antony Blinken. The two-day dialogue tackles all fields of cooperation, in addition to discussing important regional and international issues of mutual concern.
Egypt-US strategic dialogue was launched on Monday with the participation of Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and his US counterpart Antony Blinken. Following their meeting, Shoukry and Blinken held a joint press conference during which they tackled several regional and international issues of mutual concern. Shoukry asserted Egypt's commitment to its partnership with the US as an important pillar for preserving peace in the Middle East. He reiterated that Egypt is looking forward to fostering cooperation with the US in various domains during the coming period. The minister also expressed appreciation for the US logistics support in combating terrorism. For his part, Blinken praised Egypt's important role in solving the current regional issues, especially the Libyan crisis. Regarding the Sudanese crisis, Blinken sought to encourage a united front on Sudan, saying that the United States and Egypt have a shared interest in getting the country's democratic transition back on track. Blinken also said that his country is keen to boost bilateral relations in several fields and pointed out that the U.S. investment in Egypt exceed $40 billion with the aim of improving joint economic cooperation. Washington hosts the strategic dialogue between Egypt and the United States on November 8th and 9th.
Egypt said Monday was boosting troop numbers around Rafah and Sinai in the battle against terrorist groups after striking a coordination deal with neighboring Israel. No details of how many extra soldiers would be sent, but it is the first agreed increase in troops since 2018. The Armed Forces spokesperson said in a statement that the Joint Military Committee succeeded in amending the security agreement in coordination with the Israeli side to increase the number of border guard forces on Rafah. The statement added that the deployment comes amid efforts to preserve Egyptian national security. Egypt's Rafah crossing is the only passage to the Palestinian Gaza Strip not controlled by Israel. Marking 10 years since its establishment, the Egyptian Family House Conference kicked off on Monday with the participation of former President Councillor Adli Mansour, Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar Ahmed al-Tayyib, and Pope Theodorus II, Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of St. Mark's Cathedral. Family House works on implementing high principles and mutual ethics between religions, cultures, and human civilizations in light of a new discourse aiming at moral education and moderate ideology. Addressing the event, Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed al-Tayyib, said the Egyptian Family House was a result of deep understanding between Al-Azhar and the Church. He added that Al-Azhar cooperation with churches aims at reaching common points among holy religions. For his part, Pope Theodorus stressed that Family House became an authority that works with state institutions to root tolerance, cooperation, and build the nation. Pope Theodorus also called for adopting a new discourse aiming at spreading awareness and building humans. Upon directives by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, a military aircraft loaded with tons of food aids headed to South Sudan to help the African sister country in facing the floods that have hit the country recently. The aids reflect the vital role played by Egypt in its continental environment and in helping the African sister countries to overcome the current crises. Welcome back. Egypt's stock market indices fluctuated in the trading session on Monday amid selling and purchasing operations by investors in both directions. The benchmark EGX 30 index slid by 0.5%, but the EGX 70 index for small and medium businesses gained 2.09%, and the broader EGX 100 index gained 1.47%. The market capitalization gained £1.85 billion to close at £735.56 billion, amid transactions of about £2 billion.